Hey, welcome back. My name's Taylor if you're new here, and I am the founder of Habitat Interiors Co. Today's video, you're going to be seeing a replay version of a recent event I just held. And the whole point of this event was to give people a taste of what it would look like to work with me if you do a design consultation. So I call this service sample, so you can get a taste of what it's like to work with me, which is very similar, just a little bit longer of a session with me.
So today we're going to start with Josephine's space. Josephine, I know that you weren't able to make it last month, but I tried to go over your space and there just wasn't enough time. So I'm glad that you're here today because I'm like, okay, we should actually go through this a little bit better.
Yay.
So I'll go over what you submitted. If you want to add anything once I go through all that, feel free. And I'll kind of see if some of my suggestions work for you. And if not, we'll kind of see how we can build off of it. Okay. So for those of you unfamiliar with the format, I ask pretty much three main questions and then try to build a design around your answers. So the first question being, if there was one problem that we solved together that would feel like a big win, what would that be? And Josephine answered that her room feels a little drab and empty, and you would love to pick out a color to paint your walls, decide on a headboard, and some new bedding. And you were saying that if you had colored walls, you think that maybe your bedding would be a little more simple, and also a bedside table would be nice as well. So here are a few of the starting pictures. It looks like you maybe worked from home or at least had a little desk area. You put in a little light in the corner here, bed, art, whatnot. And for the second question, I asked if there's any existing elements that I need to keep in mind as I approach the design. You said that you preferred the bed in the corner. Josephine, I was assuming that this was kind of the best picture because I see that your bed kind of switches orientation a few of these. Is this
so my bed used to be under the painting and I had side tables and then I kept banging into the bed because it was taking up so much space in my room. So it's just better in the corner. It's safer for me.
Yeah, totally. And you said that you do yoga, so it seems like you probably like a lot of this floor area here.
Yeah. And it's actually smaller than it looks because I use a wide angle lens for that.
Got it. You're good. Yeah, you're in New York, so small makes sense. Let's see. You don't want a rug because it sounded like there was a little bit of a pest issue that needed to be resolved. Did that get resolved? I know it's been a little bit since you submitted.
It's like kind of resolved. I don't know. Like he sent an exterminator and they had like a special treatment. They did this last year. And like 3 months later, the beetles came back. So I'm still scared to get a rug.
Yeah.
But I have to say, because this place is rent stabilized, so I don't want to move out.
Fair enough. Okay, great. So we'll still stick with no rug, which is totally fine. We can still design without one. You like the blackout curtains, and let's see, there's one other
I
thing.
wish I could get cuter blackout curtains, but it's just there's a safety light right outside in the backyard, so.
Yeah, fair. Okay. And you don't get a lot of sunlight. Cool. Okay. And then you put together a little inspo board, which is super helpful. The last few thoughts that you wanted to share is that you can't get a whole new bed and you're thinking potentially of DIYing a headboard, either like a slab of wood or like some foam with some fabric over it. So thank you so much for the inspiration pictures. Tyler, I know you also included these. This is so helpful when approaching the design. So this is great to keep in mind. And so I'll start I was thinking about tackling the bed situation first. So I'm going to get out of presentation mode because it's a little bit easier for me to show you what I'm thinking here. So I know that this is the incorrect bed orientation, and Josephine, correct me that the bed can't go on this wall because of the
there's like a heater thing.
The heater. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I would have preferred to put the bed there, but I
could put it there, but they would I guess there'd be like a weird gap.
Yeah, okay. That's what I assumed, but I just wanted to make sure. Let me go back to this picture actually quick and bring it over here. Okay, so more or less, this is kind of like the best bed setup for you to be able to still do yoga and whatnot. I was wondering if, well, no, because that would still kind of like be the same issue. So, yeah. So we need to work with this bed situation, which is a little bit of a hindrance, but I think we can still make it work. So because we need to keep a lot of this space free, but you still want a bedside table, I was thinking, I don't know if storage is an issue for me, or for you, because for me, storage is always a bit of an issue. And I found this, it's actually like a kid's dresser, but I like to use kids' things when I need like a little extra space or storage, but I don't have a lot of space. So I think that this might be I can't remember exactly the width of it, but I know the height of it would be perfect for like a nightstand. And let me right here. I think that if we put it essentially right here, that it would give you a good amount of storage without being too big of a footprint to really get into your yoga space. And I can put links in the chat once we're done here.
Thank you.
So pretty simple, not like too crazy of a design, but I think that it just fit the space really well here. And I always really prefer when I'm able to have two bedside tables, but sometimes it doesn't really work for how you're trying to utilize the space. I thought potentially it could be nice if either you just had the bed slightly off of the corner here and then added like, this is a little metal shelf thing. Let's put this in the front. It's not super large, but it might just be nice to like have a little something on that side of the bed in case you ever need it. So I can also I recently found this company, it's called Shelfology. They do like a bunch of different metal things, and this comes in like a bajillion colors. So
cool.
Those are kind of like interesting. Or even if it doesn't feel great, like right over the bed, potentially in this other corner might just be helpful. So I liked that idea. Also, since this is like a plug-in situation for your light, if it feels like if you ever read in bed or anything, I'm sure that you could move it somewhere that might just feel a little bit better if you're wanting to use it while you're in bed. So keep that in mind as well. See, was there anything else here that I wanted to? I think that was everything that I kind of was thinking for this slide. Any reactions or things that I could be more helpful with as far as like the dresser, shelving, kind of storage area?
I think storage is good. Yeah, like a little more storage would be nice. Yeah, I guess I'd have to see if it fits.
Yeah. Here, let me. Okay, so that nightstand was from West Elm, just like I said, it's a kid's one, which is kind of interesting. Okay, I'm throwing it in the chat there. And if you also want to take a look at this shelf, these are like just super sleek and easy to throw in.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Okay, and then I kind of wanted to talk about the bedding piece specifically. So if you are up for a DIY headboard, then more power to you. That's great. I know for me personally that sometimes I would put that off for like a year and a half before I got around to it because it doesn't sound like a super fun thing necessarily.
Right.
So if you're anything like me, I would suggest something like this. This is called a wedge pillow. It's not like something that you attach to the wall. It's literally just a pillow, but it's kind of shaped to give you support like a headboard would. And these also come in quite a few different colors. I thought that the yellow could be kind of fun if you were going for the blue, and it literally goes like the whole length of the bed.
Okay.
So it kind of gives the illusion of a headboard in a way, which is great. I'll also drop that in there for you. And then for the bedding, I know that you said that you might go a little more simple on bedding depending on the color that you chose. However, when I was kind of looking at your mood board here, I felt like there was a lot of like fun geometric like quilts and bedding happening, even with the color. So I was like, maybe you would actually like something that has a little bit of pattern. I actually have this quilt. It's just from IKEA, like it's nothing super like break the bank or anything. But it kind of gave me that similar vibe to some of the geometric quilts that were on your mood board. So if that's of interest, that would be an easy thing to pick up and not break the bank. So
were you thinking with like white bed sheets instead of the
I mean, I think that you could honestly utilize the ones that you still have. Like most of these, well, actually, let me back up really quick. Most of the paint colors I was going to suggest were kind of that blue tone that is in this half of your mood board. I feel like usually a darker space that doesn't have a lot of natural light, when you're using kind of like a more white color like this other half, it can look pretty dingy pretty quickly. So I always kind of suggest like doing something with a little bit, if it's not saturated, at least like a little bit of the darker color. So I kind of was leaning heavily into this side of your inspiration board for the wall color. And
for the wall
I
color.
felt, for the wall color. And I felt like that blue tone actually looks really nice with kind of these kind of like berry red terracotta. I'm not totally sure all these colors here, but kind of the more red tones. I really personally gravitated towards that. So I think that if you wanted to keep those sheets, maybe they're more pink than what I'm thinking, but I would try it and see. Maybe the yellow wouldn't work quite as well if you go down that direction, but this wedge pillow comes in, I think, a handful of colors, so you could probably find something that works well with that. Trying to think, were there other things that I was going to say around this? I also think that the blue will look really nice since your wood floors kind of have a bit more of an orange undertone to them. I think that blue and orange work really nicely together because they're oh my goodness, why can't I think of the word? They're like contrasting colors. They're opposite on the color wheel, so I think that they look really nice together. They can be a little more bold, so I think that a lot of people get a little scared to do that. But I think that it would be really nice personally. And yeah, I put a few different paint colors that you could look into over here. Most of them are Sherwin-Williams. This first one, I think is Benjamin Moore. So yeah.
Okay.
I think that was all of kind of what I was thinking as far as the bedding and the paint. But yeah, tell me your reactions and tell me if I am missing anything or if there's something that you'd like me to address further.
Yeah, I think that in the inspo pictures I sent, there's a really good contrast of like light and dark. And so you can see the blue might make a room look darker, but the bed sheets are white with like just one pattern. Whereas right now with my room, if I paint my room blue, it might look a little dark. My bed sheets are dark. My floor is dark. I feel like it'll make my space look even smaller.
Yeah, I mean, if that is something that you're worried about, I get that. I think that I think that doing something lighter on the bed would be helpful if that is a concern for you. I don't personally feel like, let's see. I think a lot of times people feel that darker spaces look smaller. And I think that oftentimes when we're actually in spaces that are dark, like I think of like being in like a sexy lounge or bar or something. Usually we don't realize how small a space is actually when it's dark, because our mind kind of gets tricked of like, oh, okay, if it's like darker, like there's more space there that like our eye isn't intentionally seeing all the time. So I don't personally usually get scared when like a space is super dark that it's going to feel small. However, like I think that this is like a personal preference and everyone kind of feels a little bit differently about it. So yeah, I think that if you want to have some lighter elements, that's totally great. And I think that I would probably lean into that for the bedding. Let me see if I can quickly find like an alternative bedding situation for you. Yeah, especially because you don't have a rug in the space. Usually I would say the rug would be kind of the largest area to offset that contrast.
Yeah.
However, because you don't, I do think you have a good instinct of that the quilt would be, or the bedding would kind of have the biggest impact for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm finding this is a little less, it has a little bit of geometricness to it. However, it also has a little bit of like a feminine, a little bit like of a floral feminine vibe to it, which may or may not be of interest for you, but I will put this in here. I would probably go with the, oh yeah,
I had the green version from Schoolhouse. I think this is a copy of the Schoolhouse quilt. And I had the green version, and then I thought it was too dark, so I sold it. But I do like it.
Yeah, okay, that's funny. I didn't go to Schoolhouse immediately. I just went straight into Google, so that's funny. Yeah, so I think that there are a few different colors there. I think like the burgundy is really nice for kind of the color combinations you were going for. However, it is a bit darker, so potentially like the blue fog color.
Maybe the
with the rose.
Sorry, maybe it was just white bed sheets with this quilt, the red quilt that you sent.
Yeah. So I think that could probably work pretty well for you. And there's a few different colors that you could consider to make that work. Does that feel better for you?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to quickly try to grab a picture of this so we can have a visual on our board here. Okay, awesome. Thanks so much, Josephine. You're welcome to, yeah, of course, stick around if you want to hear the other advice. And like I said, we will also have a replay recording that you'll have access to as well. So yeah, thank you. Okay, here's that visual that I was showing Josephine as well. So that might go a little bit better to lighten up the space. Okay, fantastic.
So this was the last event of this summer series. So we did June, we did July. This version is for August. I'm not sure quite yet if I will be having another rendition of this series upcoming, but if you aren't subscribed already, you can say subscribed here so you can find out, or join my newsletter, which will also be linked in the description. That's the easiest place where I make sure I notify everyone of upcoming events and other things that are happening at Habitat Interiors Co. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you either in my next video or next event. So thanks, bye.